This is the quick audio test and ported video test on Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra and Vivo X200 Pro. Quad camera setup on Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra and triple camera setup on Vivo X200 Pro. I think that's it for the quick audio and ported video test. Now let's check some ported shots. On the widest field of view, which is 1x, you will notice that Vivo X200 Pro is brighter and warmer than S23 Ultra. But in terms of field of view, you will have a wider shots on Galaxy S23 Ultra with natural looking tone. Looking at the jacket, Galaxy S23 Ultra crushes the blacks a little bit, while it's better exposed on Vivo X200 Pro. On the main sensor, pretty much the same details on the face, but the white balance is still warmer on X200 Pro, which is a little bit more inviting. You also have a creamier background blur compared to S23 Ultra. You would also see that the background blur has more bokeh balls on Vivo X200 Pro, but the edge detection is really good on both phones. On zoom portrait, Vivo X200 Pro gets the win. It has better edge detection looking at the hair strand. It also has 135mm digital zoom that you can really get close to the subject, which is really nice. Plus the fact that it has great details because you are cropping into the 200 megapixel sensor. On selfie portrait, same white balance, but just a little bit more detailed on Galaxy S23 Ultra looking at the face. But we have a wider field of view on Vivo X200 Pro, so we can fit more people in the frame. Now we're starting our video test using the selfie video recording in 4K 60 FPS on both phones. Later we will do the stabilization at outdoors so you would see the quality of the video outdoors. We got 12 megapixel sensor on S23 Ultra and 32 megapixel on Vivo X200 Pro. In terms of details, I'd see a lot of details on my face on Vivo X200 Pro. I also think that Vivo X200 Pro is more color accurate, but also a little bit noisier. Which phone do you think is better in terms of selfie video recording? Now let's switch to the rear cameras. This is 4K 60 FPS on both phones. So you have 50 megapixel sensor on Vivo X200 Pro and 12 megapixel on Galaxy S23 Ultra. Also, I compared S23 Ultra to S24 and S25. So check that video out. And for Vivo X200 Pro, I compared this with S24 and S25 as well. If you want to see those videos, they're available in our channel. Now let's check the main sensor. Now we're switching to the main sensor. This is 50 megapixel sensor on Vivo X200 Pro and 200 megapixel sensor on S23 Ultra. Same sensor on S24 and S25. This is in 4K 60 FPS. If you look on the details and the quality of the video, which phone do you think is better? So this is 3x on S23 Ultra and 3.7x on Vivo X200 Pro, both optical zoom. We have 200 megapixel sensor on Vivo and 10 megapixel on Samsung. I pre-checked the video quality of these two phones and I think Vivo X200 Pro is a little bit more detailed than S23 Ultra. Now let's check the 5x optical zoom. So this is 10x on both phones. Apologies, I said 5x on my 3x comparison. We are looking at the 50 megapixel periscope zoom lens on S23 Ultra and cropping into the 200 megapixel sensor, digital crop on Vivo X200 Pro. So in terms of video quality from the ultra-wide main sensor, selfie, and zoom, which phone do you think is better? Disclaimer, out of the 3 filters on Vivo X200 Pro, we chose the Zeiss Natural, and it looks really similar with Galaxy S23 Ultra. Looking at the colors, just a tad colorful, I think. Here you would see that it has warmer white balance than the competition. Also, in terms of exposure, Vivo X200 Pro does it better. Say yes, take a chance, just one more night. You know it's feeling right. Don't wanna shake it out. Shake it out. The colors are a little bit brighter on Galaxy S23 Ultra, which is also good, but I feel like you have HDR photos on Vivo X200 Pro. I think I like the colors more on Vivo X200 Pro compared to the Galaxy, but this is a matter of personal taste. Let's make a move. Be free, live it up, just me and you. And looking at all sensors, you have ultra-wide main sensor, you also have 3x and 10x, and in terms of 4D zoom, both can shoot up to 100 times. Both can shoot slow motion, but only Vivo X200 Pro can shoot 4K 120 FPS. This is the side-by-side ported video test on both phones. The biggest difference here is the resolution. You only have 1080p on Vivo X200 Pro and 4K on S23 Ultra. Now let's switch to the rear cameras. Now this is the ported video using the rear cameras on both phones. We have 4K 30 FPS or UHD 30 FPS on both phones. In terms of quality and the subject separation, which phone do you think is better? This is the stabilization test, starting with the selfie video recording, both in 4K 60 FPS. We're turning around for you to see the colors of the surroundings. A little bit warmer on Vivo X200 Pro. Now we're doing some video stabilization. I'm also shaking the phones a little bit. Now let's check the rear cameras. Now this is the rear camera test, video stabilization, also video quality test outdoors. You can see the clouds there. This is ultra wide lens, 4K 30 FPS. We can only shoot 4K 30 FPS on this comparison because on S23 Ultra, if you go on 60 FPS, then you cannot switch on the lenses. So just an FYI, this is the video stabilization test. Now we're switching to the main sensor. Again, look at the quality, the colors. Look at the trees right there, the exposure and contrast. How about a little bit of details? Alright, let's check the video stabilization. We're running and shaking the phones a little bit. Now going for the zoom, there's two zooms on S23 Ultra, and then there's just one zoom on Vivo X200 Pro, but it's a really good sensor. 3.7x, 200 megapixel. This is 3x on S23 Ultra, 10 megapixel. Look at the quality and the details here. Also in terms of white balance, cooler on S23 Ultra. You know, S25 Ultra is warmer, so there's definitely a difference in color profile or white balance. Again, this is the video stabilization test. Now we're switching to 10x. This is digital crop on Vivo X200 Pro and optical zoom on S23 Ultra. Look at the colors. More color on S23 Ultra and color accurate on Vivo X200 Pro. And we're testing again the video stabilization here. And going for the 4D zoom, we got 20x on Vivo X200 Pro and also 20x on S23 Ultra. I think the video quality on Vivo X200 Pro is better, but let me know your thoughts. Again, switching back to the main sensor, which phone do you think is better? On night shot, if we have enough light, both phones are really good. Great details, exposure, and sharpness. The contrast on Vivo X200 Pro is a little bit stronger than the competition and maybe a little bit brighter on S23 Ultra. But in terms of pitch black condition, you have a brighter image on S23 Ultra, and Vivo crushes the blacks and shadows, a typical nighttime photography. Honestly, the older S23 Ultra is competing well on this comparison. I still feel that Vivo edges a little bit. And looking at all sensors from the ultra-wide main and zoom, all sensors can shoot night shot. This is the low light video test using these two phones in 4K 60 FPS. So we have 12 megapixel versus 32 megapixel, f2.0 on Vivo X200 Pro and f2.2 on Galaxy S23 Ultra. The aperture is a little bit bigger on Vivo X200 Pro. Now let's switch to the rear cameras. Now we're doing the ultra wide lens rear camera again in 4K 60 FPS on both phones. So 50 megapixel sensor on Vivo X200 Pro and 12 megapixel sensor on S23 Ultra. I pre-checked the video quality of these two phones, a little bit warmer and more detailed on Vivo X200 Pro and color accurate on S23 Ultra. So which phone is your choice? So we're punching it a little bit. This is the main sensor of both phones, 200 megapixel sensor on S23 Ultra and 50 megapixel sensor on Vivo X200 Pro. Now let's switch to 3x. Now this is the zoom capabilities of both phones, 3x or 3 times optical zoom on Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, and a little bit punched in 3.7x, which is a 200 megapixel sensor on Vivo X200 Pro. Which phone do you think is better in terms of the zoom capability and 3x? Now let's check the 10 times optical zoom. We're zooming in 10x on both phones, 10x optical zoom on S23 Ultra, and 10x digital crop on Vivo X200 Pro. So in terms of selfie, ultra wide, main sensor, and zoom, which phone do you think is better? This is 8K video recording on Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, 8K 30 FPS. And this is the 8K video recording on Vivo X200 Pro. Both phones are capable of 8K 30 FPS video recording. So this is the camera comparison video of Vivo X200 Pro versus S23 Ultra. Are you sticking with S23 Ultra, or you're upgrading to Vivo X200 Pro or the latest S25? Let me know your thoughts on the comment section below, and as always, thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.